you'll want to perform on our arrays is to sort them. Sort them from one arrangement, from either smallest to largest, alphabetically, or any kind of an arrangement that you'd want to specify as your contents being sorted. And as it turns out, our arrays come with a very handy sort method. So in this quick video, we're going to take a look at how to use the sort method to sort two types of content. One is numbers, the other is some text. So here I have a very simple example, just started off, nothing too crazy going on here. I have a variable called arrays. It has some numbers that are currently in almost a random arrangement. And then we have another variable called Beatles, which is another array, and it stores the names of the Beatles, Ringo, George, Paul, and John. And so what I want to do is kind of showcase how we can use the sort method to arrange the value of numbers in a sequential fashion, and also to arrange the value of the Beatles in alphabetical order, because they are words. And so the way to use the sort function is that you have the sort function, but it needs to be passed in a function that is actually doing the comparison itself. And so here's something to look. Numbers.sort. It takes one argument, and just like an event handler you might be using in a DOM element, I'm going to create a variable called compare values. This is a function, and we haven't actually defined this function yet. We're going to do that in a second. So Beatles.sort, and then compare values again. And now what the compare values function does is it takes two arguments, and I'll show you in a second. So I'm just going to function compare values, and two arguments are a and b. Very simple. And the way this function works is that for any comparison it does, you check for is a less than b. If so, then the value of a comes first. If a is greater than b, then b is what comes going first. If a and b are equal, then they're both already in a sorted arrangement. And so let's take a look at what this looks like. If a is less than b, just if a less than b, return a -1. A -1 tells you that the first value is what is going to be returned as being a sorted value. Else if a is greater than b, this is a case where if a is greater than b, we're going to return 1, which means the second value is the one that is going to be the winning one. And the last one is if a and b are equal. Scroll up a bit, and we're going to return 0. And so what this does is, like I mentioned earlier, when a value of -1 is returned, the first value you're comparing against will win. When a value of 1 is returned, in which case the second value is what's going to be sorted. And to see this all at work, so I'm going to do console.log numbers. And similarly, so let's do console.log, let's call it Beatles. And if I refresh this page, notice that now you see an order of 2, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, 4, which is the correct ordering of our numbers from earlier in sorted form. And then the last one is George, John, Paul, and Ringo, which is the correct alphabetical form of how these values are going to be. Now, here's what makes it really interesting. This function, you can do whatever you want in terms of how you want to compare it. You can choose to be, let me flip it around. Let me say that I want to do this in reverse order. So I'm just flipping the signs here, ignore the comments. In fact, I'm just going to delete the comments right now. And now if I were to refresh this page, notice that now all of the items are arranged in reverse order. Similarly, the numbers are going from 14 down to 2, and then the Beatles themselves start with Ringo, R, and then end with George at G. And so as long as you're returning either -1, 1, or 0, your sort function will absolutely work just fine, in this case compare values, and you have a lot of flexibility in what calculations you perform in order to return a -1, or 1, or a 0. And the article I linked to in the video goes into a little more detail on some of the other things you can do, including what if you have a nested object whose values are trying to sort, how will that all work out? So definitely take a look at that video and the article if you want to go into more depth. If you have any more questions about how to work with arrays, post in the forums at formatgroup.com, where I and others would be very happy to help you out. And if you like this video, tell your friends and enemies all about it. Hit subscribe to be notified of other videos I'll be coming up with. And follow me at Karupa on Twitter and other places. And lastly, if you want a really good deep dive on what arrays can do, check out my book, Arrays from Noob to Ninja, available both in paperback and Kindle editions. And with that, I will see you all next time.